So right here in my hands, I have probably the best looking player irons I've ever seen from a DTC golf company. These are the TAIIIs, the V2 version from Sub70 Golf, designed by two-time PGA Tour winner Tommy Armour III. They even came in this really nice kind of premium, custom, luxurious TAIII branded box. I've got a CB-MB combo set, and in today's video, I'm gonna dive so deep into these irons, the look, the feel, the performance, the play, the numbers, everything, and try to answer the question, can we get tour level premium performance player irons from a DTC golf company? So this is it, literally straight from the box. These things are brand spanking new. I like to start a warm-up session with a pitching wedge, or warm up with a pitching wedge. I opted for the satin because there is a raw finish. There is a kind of a black finish, but I feel like I just got my Avodas in a black finish. Raw seemed cool, but satin, classic. Ooh, that went through the turf. Nice. We're gonna talk about the tech and all of that of the club, the shape, the design, kind of what TAIII and Sub70 are wanting to achieve with this blade. But first and foremost, we're just hitting it. That feels nice. A little thin there, but that's still, I didn't feel like I lost a lot. I mean, it's a muscle back blade, but it's definitely not like such a thin top line that it's scary looking, but there's certainly some beefiness and forgiveness in there. Okay, we'll move up to the 8 iron. It's an interesting leading edge. It looks like it's straight on, has a bit of a point, if you will, but when you look down at it, it doesn't. It like blends in perfectly behind the golf ball. We'll clip that on. A little heavy, but man, that got some pump, some pop. These are KBS Tour 130X. Kind of the standard offering with most DTCs nowadays, but this is the shaft that I gamed, since 2018. So the last couple of years of my career, I was still gaming these, and I had a middle switch of Modus 130s, but I played these before. So this is a shaft that I'm very comfortable with, I use. Obviously, it's a kind of a generic shaft, if you will, nowadays, but gives me the numbers I need and want, so it's great for testing. Oh, wow. That felt awesome. An 8 iron is where you can start kind of shaping it, flighting it. Obviously, a muscle back blade is where we want a lot of that playability. Let's hit a little low draw. Yeah. So I went 7 to pitching wedge in the MB, and 6 iron is where I started the CB. Back in the day, I would start my CB at 5 iron, 3-4-5. I don't play a 3 iron anymore, so why not add a little bit more meat and forgiveness at that 6 iron, kind of that 200 yard range. But that looks good. Really compact head. This is where I'm gonna get a little bit more forgiveness, a little bit more pop. Wow. A little active with the hands, but man, that felt solid. Dead straight. Wow. These feel so good. Oh man. That's really good. So we'll go to the 4 iron. And to me, this is the club that I want to be able to hit hard. It's not really a tee club, a fairway club, but I find when I test 4 irons, I like to see just how hard can I hit it off the tee and not lose it left. This is such a classic. I mean, yeah, it's modern with the angles and the weight ports and that, but just to me, this is just like your classic CB looking head. Just hit this hard. Smack it, doesn't go left. Yeah, that's good. And then it's like that 4 iron, let's say 225 into a par 5. Just hit a high, nice, good one. High, because you chunk it. No, I miss it. See, that was thin, but man, I got a lot out of it. Not hitting this the best. Oh, there we go. Wow. Yeah. Damn. Color me impressed. So right from the box to the range, they performed great. Like that first session was really great. What really stuck out though was the feel. Like they felt so good. I texted a buddy. I was like, I need to play golf in a few days because I want to take these out for a full 18 because they felt so good. They're forged DT4 carbon steel, and they're definitely on par with some of those just like softest, butteriest irons that I've ever hit. Srixon, Mizuno come to mind. Those are some of the ones that are just like, they feel so good off the face. That's how good these felt. And when you mishit it, you knew exactly where you mishit it. When you hit it well, it was euphoric how just soft and buttery they felt. The forging, the steel is top of the line. I said I was going to talk about the specs, and yeah, there's a lot in here. These aren't just DTC blanks that Sub70 put their stamp on. They worked with a tour player, one of their longest partners in Tommy Armour III. They've already had a V1 version, and they've refined them. And one of the things they did in refining these is the sole. The sole is a little bit wider than the V1 version, but they also have great little cambering on it. So there's a lot of relief on that leading edge, and you don't see that in the DTC space. You see just iron heads that they pick and they put their stamp on, and maybe they change a little bit of the aesthetic. You see research and design in these irons, and this cambered leading edge definitely was noticeable on that range session or during that range session. Some of those ones that I did catch a little bit on the heavy side, it really got through the turf really, really well. The shape of the leading edge, like I said, kind of like it's not just a smooth rounding or a straight, it has a bit of a peak, if you will. And that sat really well behind the ball. Pair it with that camber on the sole, perimeter weighting in the CB heads. You added weight plugs. You even have a weight port in the short irons, 8, 9, and pitching wedge, just for better feel, better forgiveness. The design of these things is like right up there with what you get from the OEMs. To that point, they're priced basically right in between what you get from OEMs in like a CB-MB set and what you get from some direct-to-consumer $650 CB-MB just forged irons. They're offering the R&D, the forging, the design, the everything you get from the OEM, even the customization, the fitting experience you can get from an OEM, you can get that from Sub70. The other DTC brands, you don't. It's pick a head, pick a shaft, maybe a shaft or two. They're not typical, or I wouldn't quantify these as DTC irons. They're from a DTC brand, but these are premium irons, and you see it in their specs, you see it in the feel, or you feel it in the feel, the performance. They're not DTC irons, even though they're in the DTC category. And the fitting customization, like I said, I use a KBS Tour, so I'm kind of using the generic shaft. But if I had a shaft that was better fit for me, better suited for me, I could use that. I could get that option, a Project X, a Dynamic Gold, a graphite shaft. Those are options you can get from Sub70, but you're not compromising the performance and the design and the feel in the iron head. I had to get these out on the golf course. And yeah, so that was a Tuesday, that range session. I played on the Saturday, and they felt so good. Like they were so solid. I could shape them. I could cut them. I could hit them high. I could hit them low. Even in a bit of wind, the performance was there. The distance control was there. The miss hits. I floated one out to the right on the third hole. It still got the distance I would have expected out of it. So that was really, really kind of encouraging. Even that second hole, I thinned that 5-iron, but I still got quite a bit out of it. Throughout the 18 holes, these things did not let me down. It was just like a seamless transition into the bag. Even the guys in my group, when I hit a couple irons, were like, whoa, that sounded awesome. And the shot I hit out of the hard pan, 149, a little downwind, just such a great pitching wedge. Sounded so good. I hit it to this. They performed so well on the golf course. So they kind of checked the box of that initial feel range session. They checked the box kind of spec-wise, build-wise. On the golf course, they checked the box. Then it was time to come in here and just dive into the numbers and see if the performance I was getting out there translated, or the numbers backed up the performance I was getting on the range and on the golf course. So when I test irons, I like to test pitching wedge, 7-iron, 4-iron, just get some good average readings. 10 pitching wedges, 7 7-irons, 4 4-irons. If I totally duff it, I'll hit another one. Like, I'll get that out of there. But I don't go for just like 10 perfect shots, 7 perfect shots. I just want to see what these things do when hit, well to really well, not shitty shots. Like, a shitty shot with any club is a shitty shot. So 10 pitching wedges, the consistency in the carry distance was really, really like, wow. I mean, we have an average of 141, but we never see it go less than 139 or more than, the 146 I pulled. But what I noticed when I pulled and kind of closed the face, the spin didn't drop down. Spin is a little on the lower side, but the spin consistency coming in at 8,300 as an average, but it never goes below 8,000, higher than 87. These are consistently, precisely designed clubs, and you see it in that performance. The spin is really consistent, the carry yardage is really consistent, and that's what you want out of a premium forged muscle back blade iron. Numbers wise, the pitching wedge, it was really solid. And then we move into the 7-iron, a little on the lower side of spin. I'm definitely kind of a higher launch. I get good height out of my irons, but right in the middle of the bag, let's say like 8, 7, 6, I do fight the spin getting down a little bit, like based on like ideal, but the spin is a little low on the 7-iron, coming in an average of 5,900. Carry of 181, that's exactly what I would want. But again, the same thing. If I turned it over a little bit, it didn't go considerably further and lose a lot of spin, or if I held the face square to a little open, it didn't go considerably shorter and gain a lot of spin. Like, you see the range of spin coming from 5740 as high as 6150. Like, only 400 RPM spin across 7 well-struck shots is really, really impressive. And the dispersion, the flight, really, really good and consistent. And that speaks to the design, the forgiveness, everything that's in these clubs, how they built them, how they made them. You're seeing it with the numbers. And then we go into the 4-iron. It's so impressive. It's weird. I've always been a very strong long iron player. 4 and 5 irons. I fight with not enough spin in the middle of the bag, but then I spin it kind of perfectly with the long irons. And just, this is incredible what the 4-iron produced. I had one that I kind of chunked. So I had 5 shots, but 4 were this, within 2 yards of each other in terms of carry. And then we look at the spin within roughly 300 RPM of each other. 39.77 average spin. That's perfect. The launch, the height. This 4-iron was amazing. And just like that perimeter weighting that they've added, a little wider sole, the camberine, just makes it so easy to hit, but it looks so good. Thin top line. Look at that dispersion. Look at that little circle of landing, and then look at the flight. Even when I turned it, it didn't go considerably further. And that's what you want out of premium irons, players' irons. You want something that's going to do what you expect it to do on a good one and a bad one. And a bad one for me can be a little turn it over, but it's not going 8, 9, 10, 11 yards further. Or if I kind of hold the face open, it's not going 7, 8 yards, 9 yards shorter. The range and how these things are landing because of the spin and the launch and the ball, I would like a little bit more spin in the middle of the bag with these, but my goodness. The first range session was so good. The looks of them are so good. The feel is, like I said, probably one of the better feeling irons I've ever hit. The good ones feel like perfect, but when you miss hit one, you know exactly where you hit it, and what happens with it is exactly what you think or thought or expected to have happened with the miss hit. Oh, these are good irons. And I mean, they're DTC, but I think Sub70 is in a league of its own when it comes to the DTC space. They're creating and producing irons with R&D, with design, with custom fitting options that the other DTC brands that we just get inundated with marketing about don't do. They're creating and doing what the OEMs do, but they offer it at, 25, 30, 35% less at times as what the OEMs. And I've seen comments in the videos, oh, the resale value isn't there. The resale value in any golf club is kind of really tanking. It's a weird space. But everything I've hit from Sub70, from their fairway woods, their drivers, and now their irons, I'm so impressed with what this brand is doing. These irons are special irons. I'm gonna keep them in the bag for a little bit because I can do what I want to do with them. They're for players. That don't get it twisted. These are not like game improvement. These are irons for players. And so if you're a player and you want an iron that gives you great performance, incredible feel and feedback, but a good amount of forgiveness, I look at these. Seriously, look at these, because they're going to turn some heads. They're going to get people talking, but they're going to perform for you. So yeah, Sub70, well done on these irons. Can't wait to hit more shots with them. We'll see you in the next video.